These cookies are going to be great. How do I know? I can sense it. Sensation is the process through which the senses pick up visual, auditory, and other sensory stimuli and transmit them to the brain. First, I could smell the cookies baking in the oven. Then I heard the timer ring. I could see that the cookies had baked well and were done. They were hot. I could feel that, so I needed an oven mitt. Finally, I could taste how good the cookies turned out. Sensational. Now, of course, we know that our sense organs are our eyes, our nose, our tongue, our ears, and our skin. And they all act as transducers. They transfer the sensory stimuli into neural impulses. We actually have sensation in the brain. Once the information reaches the brain, how does it make sense of all that sensation? That's where perception comes in. Perception is the process by which the brain actively organizes and interprets sensory information. One of the ways that we organize our world is through perceptual sets. A perceptual set is a perception of what we expect to perceive, and therefore may affect what we actually do perceive. Here's an example of a perceptual set. This is a scene from a movie that I did with my children a few years ago. A perceptual set says that once you hear a car engine starting, somebody's going to be driving it away. But it's not the little girl in this case, it's actually me, with some fancy camera editing. Examples of perceptual organization include figure ground. Take an example of this figure against this background. We perceive a shape, although it's just some colors, a figure against a background. Therefore, a figure ground. Similarity. Birds of a feather flock together. Objects that have similar characteristics are perceived as a unit. When we see them together, we think they belong together. Proximity. Objects that are close together in space or time are usually perceived as belonging together. This was my son as a baby, and although he wasn't really a monkey, sometimes he acted like it. Here's an example of continuity. We've seen this done before. If I take a series of individual pictures, then I have several pictures of cars on my table. However, if I put them all together, this is an example of continuity. Our brain doesn't perceive a series of individual pictures, but one moving picture. And closure. What do you see here? Keep looking. Our brain likes to close in the empty spaces, and even though originally this looks like a series of lines, our brain begins to close in and we see that it's a picture of Angelina Jolie. That's Chapter 3 for this week. Thanks for viewing. I'll be back next week with Chapter 4. You could read more about sensation and perception in our textbook. Have a great week.